Amidst the various books, you find one written by someone named Matthias W. Dundas. It's about wholeness, unity, balance. The point of the book, and many others on this shelf, is to give people medicinal advice in situations where they don't have access to paid health services. It serves platitudes, while also telling everyone that traditional medicine, the kind people don't have access to and which costs more than this book, is garbage and would only give you cancer anyway. Without wholeness, unity, balance, on the other hand, can basically take care of anything. Though when it's up to your mind to heal yourself, then it's because of your mind that you're ill in the first place. It's your own fault if you're ill. Got it? The book features chapters on topics such as how to find magnesium. It even lists plants you can harvest magnesium from. How to continue drinking if you're an alcoholic who has destroyed his liver. There's even a chapter on the ancient Seraïs tradition of using duck gallbladder preservatives to treat and prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Pre and post factum apply. Nothing worth buying.
Sir, please, no browsing in that shelf. That wisdom is not for free. I can't have you end up, like, opening a police store next door and stealing my customers. Oh no!
I'm sorry, sir. I can't talk right now. I'm very busy with my homework.
You just can't win.
Math. It's really difficult. Like, really. They say you need it to get rich. Better than standing outside in the cold, I guess. Oh, I found something while you were away. I thought this would fit you. Like, thanks for helping out. Not me. The city, I mean. Like a detective does. Yes, just like the one Dick Mullen wears all the time. You'll look way more serious with that. Right, I have to get back to my homework now, before Mum notices. Man, this is hard. Hi, Ace Detective.
A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merch. An endless variety of source books, lore books, and codices litter the table. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Katawak, Boreal Creature Compendium, and a pick-your-path adventure gamebook titled Tales of Wirral, Cavern of Velkrag. There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel notes, nonsense for anemic Beano-clads.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested. Raubritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children. Friends are technically like family. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. Lousy auras there. No, role-playing games are popular among those types. You know, who are into those. I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts. That they have rituals where they try to summon entities. Highly immoral.
The display rack is brimming with worn paperbacks featuring an extremely muscular, sword-wielding barbarian on the cover. Nearly all the titles contain the word Hyundai somewhere. This is entirely, completely you. You have found the right books. Rows and rows of Hyundai men blur your vision. You make out some titles. Man from Hyundai and the Mammoth Riders. Man from maybe 100. Man from Hyundai and the sages at the end of the world. Man from Hyundai. Those snow crabs are worse than they sound. Not even close. Man from Hyundai in hell. Man from Hyundai and the forest of slaves. Man from Hyundai under the lake. Man from Hyundai, Hyundai burning. There's even the Trial of Death, a pastoral combat game book set in the world of a twinge at the back of your head makes you flinch. Your eye starts twitching. Your hand reaches toward a book with glossy cover art of the very muscular man from Hyundai in chains. Between the throne and the Hyundai man lies a bonfire, casting shadows on the wall. The shadow of the woman's headdress looks like a pair of devil horns. The display rack before you is burdened under piles of Man from Hyundai novels.
Oh, Man from Hyundai. A very popular series of adventure novels. They're awfully immoral and violent books. Blood and violence, scantily clad women, epic narratives, all those mystical things he encounters. They're bound to grab those with little imagination and nothing to do. What does it matter? They're all the same. However, the customer is always right, they say. If you're a novice of the series, I'd recommend Hyundai Man, the man from Hyundai. It's supposed to be a good introduction to the series.
Yes? What do you want to know? Good.
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime Rem. Goodness, you were all...
She smiles and nods. The curtains, tattered with age and covered. Just as you're about to pull apart the curtains, the petrified voice of the shop owner cries,
Sir, don't touch that. I told you it's off limits for the customers. Parapsychologically speaking, we're done if you decide to open them. I won't be held responsible for the consequences. It's too dangerous.
She looks away, mumbling. Why is everyone always messing with the curtains? Why can't they just buy books like normal people?
No, it's just a storeroom for the employees, I told you. Now please step away from the curtains. You do? My God, even more reasons not to mess with the curtains. Just step away, dear sir. Why? It's not like anyone was killed there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so impolite. Just please don't go there. I can't allow that. You'll only make things worse and unleash the powers.
The curtains do seem frail suddenly, not robust enough to contain a slippery darkness.
No! Please just talk to me, officer. Come here and let's talk this through before you decide to do anything extreme.
Lies. Rip them open, we say. The curtains, tattered with age and covered in dust, hang before you, as if taunting you. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little cage-like trinkets, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
I warned you, you're unleashing forces beyond your understanding.
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of little oddly shaped trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. What if you just break it down? Only an echo. No one is there. A hollowed-out, dark echo. That's right. Take in your surroundings. You need to have a solid ground and a proper posture if you want to succeed. The room is dimly lit and littered with old barbershop rubbish, but the path to the door is clear. It's made of a solid block of wood, but it has stood there for ages. The hinges are old and coated with a carmine layer of rust. It should be doable.
I wasn't kidding when I said we're parapsychologically done. You clearly don't care about the consequences. What gives you the right? Don't expect my help from now on. The back door is locked and I threw away the key. I won't trifle with such forces. Do look at the books, though. The books compel you.
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of little oddly shaped trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. Ow, shoot. Whose moronic idea was it to just run through the door? Don't you know that things like that hurt?
Are you alright? This looked pretty intense and painful, I must admit.
What is going on there? Are you really trying to break down the back door? I warn you, don't tempt the spirits, officer. Don't tempt the spirits or you'll damage the holy wards on the door.
It barely looks like you've done any damage to the door, however. It's still locked and closed, covered in dozens of little charms and trinkets. There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body, as you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a smell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty, with your hands at your sides and your...
They do after 7 days, yes. We are deep in decomposition here.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enameled boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins, and blotched by lividity. A fading web of tattoos covers his chest and shoulders. The cargo belt used to fasten him to the branch above appears industrial in strength. The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. The man wore thick polymer socks, probably for padding. A fine array of interlocking plates covers them. Delicate and fragile, they feel alien to the world around you, out of place somehow.
Their armor, no boots. Technically speaking, these are sabatons. Ceramic plate. Zirconium dioxide, most likely. This is where the make would be. Under the hill. Fair weather. Fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff. Piece by piece. He's been out here for 7 days. It would be odd if they didn't. We should keep a lookout for these pieces. The armor could yield information. Maybe he'll know something.
If you wear those pieces, it will help me protect your mortal coil. Yes, bullets will fly. They always do. And the coil is fleshy and mush and permeable. Cast it in ceramic shell.
No, he must have worn something precious underneath his clothes. They've removed all his clothes to get to it. They did not just strip him for the putrid rags. Someone could have cleaned the yard, but that's a question for the red-haired thing.
I hear you, cop, talking shit about the Kuno. Come here and say it to Kuno's face. You wanna fuck me, huh? You wanna fuck the Kuno?
They usually hang them completely naked for that. La puta madre, the Mazda, the Besmerties and the like. This one still has his underpants.
What? Are you trying to ignore me now, fuckface?
Kuno, this boots shit is super boring and the guy's a total vitupaz.
A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side of a porcelain cup. The pry bar in your hand is itching for some action.
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it entirely. See?
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These plates then divide into smaller plates until there are hundreds of them altogether.
It is. It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost 6 men to semi-automatics. For a full set, about 4 years of wages. As a wage, it's regrettably small, but for a piece of hardware, yes, that's a lot. That's for us to find out. Mr. Gart implied he was security personnel for the harbor company. This confirms my own assumptions. I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford. That's for us to find out. Just something I scraped together from my station. An area report on Martinez. I'm sure you did the same. No, your first instinct was correct. This equipment is way beyond what a security guard can afford.
The stench fills your nostrils. As you push downward, an ominous creaking sound comes from above.
Stop! Pig's gonna pull his head off.
Brutal!
You're about to pull his head off.
Do it, homo!
Yes, that's what I said. You'll compromise the coroner's case if you do. So please, don't. What are you trying to achieve anyway? Why are you hanging on to that boot? Try what exactly? I don't think we should do anything just for the hell of it. Besides, there's no way you're getting them off. All the organic matter in his body has been flowing down into the boots. They are fused to his feet now. Why do you think the locals haven't scavenged them yet?
There might still be a way to peel them off, but first the body needs to be down. And second, it would probably be better if the lieutenant wasn't around. All right then, you can pay the hostel bill in honor points. How many honor points have you collected?
Processing will take care of them. With the situation in the morgue, it will yield nothing. But we must pick our fights. Should we continue?
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt. His torso covered in tattoos. The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard-edged polyester cuts into his neck. Above, a sliding buckle ties the belt to the branch. Oh my, there's something on the belt. A familiar word that speaks to the thirst within you. Vermilion, in yellow letters, along the length of the twisting cargo belt. Only a deep longing for vermilion golden spirits lets you decipher the fading logo of the local brewery.
Extremely. Industrial strength, the kind used for tying cargo to lorries. Yes, it looks like they use whatever was on hand, paying no attention to not incriminating themselves. It's not merely polyester, it's steel reinforced. See these lines? This is where the wires run. I see rabbits for more than 20 strands. This makes getting him down much more problematic than I had assumed. I'm still approaching this as a lynching, yes, motivated by the ongoing strike. You? "70% of the cases I get are just filling in the blanks on the initial report. This belt worries me. A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around. I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on the belt, buckle closes. It's what I would do. Seems easier than climbing up there.
The cadaver hangs from an intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time they intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin. Their concentration is highest around his heart.
I have only a cursive knowledge of the science of cybernetics. I would not know if it were. But it's not quite complex enough, is it?
It doesn't seem familiar from the insides of any radio computer your mind can imagine. The somewhat organic lines remind you of old filament memory units, but not quite. No, you're nowhere near right.
So am I.
He wears a wide leather belt around his waist and a gun holster under his arm. He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed. A small lens appears, some sort of camera.
A Triggered Sunshine. Mini.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera. I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling out.
In case we need it. It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter, to us. Someone should decipher it. We'll need to show it around. Sure, just don't lose it.
The glassy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful as the chemical rainbow on the photo paper, teeming with opportunistic organisms. His eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their sockets. There is no one home, just subaquatic terrors there. Dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. What remains is an unrecognizable mess. The corpse is dead silent. You have no idea why you just said that.
Who is he? He is male, 40 to 50, with an athletic build.
The corpse looks right through you as you distance yourself from its stench, eyes like a shark. As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green and pink. Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark green in the cold spring air.
How should I know why you are squinting, officer? Oh. You are trying to assess lividity.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant with something. Black liquid streams down his thigh and onto his boot.
So, what do you think? I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs harder with their little sport.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
He means you fucked him up good, Kuno! Fucked him up brutal-like!
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purge liquid is dripping into it, drop by drop.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time of death.
The fuck he saying?
Talking about shit.
Did we? I don't feel lucky. I think he was upright immediately after death. Blood has gathered in his hands and feet, and his neck. The noose acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis here is in tune with the hanging. That's what I think. There's always a chance. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. We'll have to get him down first. I agree. Totally dead. He is. I agree. Totally dead. No siree. I agree. Totally dead. Absolutely. I agree. Totally dead. Dabadoob-doob dead.
But there is no breath to catch, only the cadaver filling the air and your nostrils. He slowly rotates before you, decomposing.
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt. His tall...
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt. The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting it.
There's no question. There's only cutting. How hard can it be?
I was really hoping we wouldn't. The Union appeared to be suspect in this case. It seems like a dangerous...
Confirmed. It's unsafe. But what other options? The corpse twists on the belt, like chicken on a skewer.
Climb up there and saw the branch? I don't trust that ladder. The assailants didn't use it. It's rotten and less sturdy than it looks. And I don't see another good way up there. Honestly, I prefer a non-acrobatic solution to this. Clown cops climb tree, fall down. Enraged cop assaults children after falling from tree. Cretin cop, they like that word, saws the branch he's sitting on. Literally. Local children report corpse mutilation.
Fuck yeah! Climb that shit, monkeys!
See, you're only making them do those things less.
No, I do not see the future. I made those up using 2 decades in the Revasholian police force as a reference point. Yes, we should use acrobatics as the very last option, after we've tried everything normal.
to be the most fucking boring mulkapat I've ever seen.
Someone else? You mean like the police? Someone like a paid garbage man? Or a cleaning crew? I have bad news for you. That is a detective. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down, fast. I don't doubt your physical prowess, officer, but that's aircraft strength material, and we do not have a secure platform to perform the procedure on. The risk of acrobatic failure is one we cannot take. We must not become comedy for the locals.
The fuck have you got against comedy, pigs?
Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
How? It absolutely will not, officer. That's not how physics work. It will maybe cut one thread loose.
Yeah, now we're talking. Entertain a Kuno with some shit.
They'll miss! The pigs will miss Kuno!
Silence, with his elbow sharp, and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks, securing it in place. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the trigger.
He's gonna fucking miss!
The kid's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A cloud of smoke slowly parts in the air as the lieutenant steps back and says to himself,
God damn it.
a lot of things were wrong with that shot. The fellow's test was the wrong choice. His shoulders were raised, but above all, he cannot trust his eyesight. Oh my God, that was so many types of wrong. Who taught Four Eyes to shoot? Whip up a grueling training regimen for him.
Fucking idiot! Mulkapat asshole!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he? Kuno's sorry too. Kuno feels sorry for the...
The lieutenant doesn't say a word, just looks at the gun in his hand.
No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't break anything, and the victim remains uncompromised. Any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. We have eyes on us. I didn't do us any favors with that. I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without us.
You know, you don't feel like too bad of a shot yourself. Take his gun and show him how to use it.
Yes, we do. We are not getting him down already. Not getting him down is a task that's already accomplished. Sadly, it's not our job to keep him up there, but to get him down.
Just pull his rotten head off. The meat's cooked anyway. Give the boot another yank and it's done.
It's tempting, but decapitating him will make it impossible to ascertain whether he was really hung. The damage to the neck would make coronary work pointless. It's bad as it is, us shooting firearms like punks. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Just don't lose it.
They only have one gun!
This is the sorriest pair of pigs Kuno's ever seen.
Yeah, take it, you fucking banana poika! Take it and shoot yourself in the mouth!
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light. Your fingers fit right through the guard, instinctively resting on the trigger.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to shoot himself in the mouth.
Kuno is silent. Aggression gathers in the air. The trigger feels delicate and ready to break under your finger. The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in the ground and your left hand supporting your gun arm.
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss. Or what? You gonna fuck me? You wanna fuck me, pig? Is that what this is about?
Your field of view narrows. The branch slowly moves, becoming entirely two-dimensional. The metal buckle glimmers, catching the noon light as the...
Look, he's crying. You gonna cry now, fucking faggoty?
The buckle explodes into tiny pieces, coming loose with a whir. With your hand numb from the recoil, you look at the body slump down. For a moment, the man appears to kneel in front of you, looking straight at you, helpless, trapped within itself.
Communism.
It takes a millisecond for the association to flash within your cortex. You have no idea where it's coming from, only that it's right. Then the rigor in his muscles gives up, and he smashes sideways into the spring mud, letting out a horrid stench.
Fuck you, Kurpale!
Aces high.
The lieutenant takes a little hop to perform the customary salutation. Your palm hurts from the slap. It's precise and down to the point.
I knew these guys were f***ed.
We will perform a field autopsy and determine the cause of death. But before... Excuse me.
Slumped on the ground like that has not improved the way the corpse smells. The fall seems to have released something deep inside it.
It looks like I feel like taking a break from the stench. I'm sorry to interrupt the jubilations here. Just a little breather before we do the autopsy. In the meantime, we should try to interview Everard Clare, the leader of the Union. Harbor property was clearly used in the hanging. The harbor just east of here. Getting in might prove a challenge, though. Or we could ask around for the representative of the logistics company. My initial information says the Wild Pines have sent some sort of strike negotiator to wrangle control back from Evrard.
You could ask the gardener for directions.
Yes, and those were the interviewees. Let's go.
An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso of the hanged man. It almost looks like the electronic patterns inside a radio computer or an old filament gone. For you to discover, you've gotten as far as you will without assistance. The worn map features the patchwork grid of the streets of Martinez, with directions to appropriately touristy locations. Year 48 resides on the upper right corner. Your finger moves through the various streets, across Rue de Saint-Ghislain and Rue Saint-Cypar, finally coming to a halt on the spot where you are currently standing, although the map gives no such indication itself.
For a more detailed view of the map, go to your journal and select the Map tab.
The rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through you. The belt is still around his neck. His body is supine and open to intrusion by autopsy. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them. Fine. It's a 3-part form to be filled out on the scene by the detectives responsible. One takes notes, the other dictates. The goal is to establish cause of death. A scalpel is not always required. I hope this is one of those cases. Latex gloves are, however. Unfortunately, no. They are better than nothing. Tell you what, I perform the anatomical side of things while you will take notes. In your paperwork, officer, just fill out the field autopsy form.
Now they only have one paperwork too.
Officer, what haven't you lost? Good. Otherwise you would only have one shoe now. I can give you my paperwork. There's an autopsy form there. Several actually, but only if it helps move things along. Right. The autopsy form is near the end.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with,
Let's.
The corpse does not object. He lies slumped to the side, stinking.
Kuno care?
It's not Kuno. It's Kuno-S.
Fuck you whispering about?
He's whispering too. He's going with it. But watch what happens.
Fuck you whispering about!
If Kuno wants to whisper, he's gonna fucking whisper, okay? Let's whisper, pig.
This is it. You've got him. But be careful. You can still fuck this up. Don't make Kuno look bad in this.
She's not fucked up. Everyone's fucked up. Stop judging shit.
Wrong move. But he's whispering still. You haven't lost him. Just don't mess up again. Or you will. There are no guarantees here.
It's okay. The pig's trying to pit us against each other. Not gonna let him do that.
Idiot. You bungled it up. That's it. You let him off the line. That was a bad, manipulative thing to say. You should understand. I got you this far. I couldn't get you all the way.
Try to fuck my Kuno! Try to fuck my Kuno away! Me and Kuno are tight. We ride for life.
A chill comes over you, the wind from the boulevard south, lashing you for trying to separate them, for trying to take the street out of Kuno.
You found Kuno's secret door to Kuno's secret shack. It was closed for 5,000 years. How the fuck did you get in? Shit. Get the fuck out of here. You can't do that.
You can't do that, Kuno. He's trying to fuck at you again.
Pigs can't displace. Can't do that teleport shit. How did you like it in there, pig old boy? Kuno's got a lot of cool shit there, right? It's a vitamin, pig. Don't you know anything? Yeah, it's the mag. You fucking need that shit to stay on top of your game. Kuno goes through like a tube a day, rips mag like a motherfucker, and you could use a battle.
Oh, don't teach him, Kuno. He's gonna use it against you, Kuno.
You're not getting this, pig. It completely takes away the hangover. It's like you didn't do anything. Like you stayed home playing with your choo-choo.
Fuck you, pig. Don't do mag. You're gonna OD and you're gonna fucking die.
Is it? You got pretty fucked. Kuno's surprised you've still got your head after all that. Don't sweat it, drunk pig. Kuno will keep your nasty secrets. Kuno's not snitching.
He's saying you climbed up there. He probably saw you do it. That explains the calluses on your hands. You scaled the side of the building, entertaining the local kids.
That's where Kuno gets his daily hit of electric. Kuno Shazam. Kuno rides the fucking lightning in there, pig.
Bet you'd like to ride the lightning too, wouldn't you? You feel tired and old, but you could have that sparkle in your eyes.
Oh, that? Kuno decapitates pigs. That's just a Kuno demo tape. Yeah, Kuno plays on snuff radio, fucks pigs, live, fucks their heads off. Kuno's a cop killer. Oh, that? Kuno yeah, to the both of you, watch your ass in Kuno's town. or Kuno's gonna fuck your head off. Course you fucking can. How do you think Kuno made all the docky boys his gimps? Just got a fly pig. Kuno knows. Kuno and C saw you shit yourself. It's okay, pig. Not everyone can face the fear Kuno style.
That's all there is to it then. Don't be a pansy. Just jump.
Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come and talk to Kuno about his... The fuck do you want with it? Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come and talk to Kuno about his kingdom.
What's going on is an ungovernable youth on your crime scene, throwing around incendiary language, trying to push your buttons.
Trying to fuck at the Kuno. Trying to fuck at me. Trying to fuck. Kuno only gets higher. It's faster, faster, faster. Can't take the Kuno. Stay out of the reactor.
Kuno gonna fuck you up! Up!
Normal is not what we got here. You've got to work with what you have for now.
Kuno doesn't...
Hear that? Magnesium. That's what you're lacking. The lack of magnesium has you slouched. The magnesium levels in your blood are dangerously low. It's about the low magnesium levels and not the high alcohol levels.
Kuno, the pig's getting pretty close to me. Come to snuff my shit out, I think. Looks like it's time for me to go, Kuno. Pig's come to take me.
She means it. The fear is real.
I'm going away for a long, long time, Kuno.
What's going on there? Fuck are you trying to pull, pig?
Stay away from me, pig. You don't want to see what happens when you... I'll die before I squeal, pig. I come from the woods, good Davidu. You don't want to go there with me.
Don't be traumatizing her.
I'll die before I squeal, pig. What's this kid shit? Fucking mind games. I'd rather die than squeal.
Get the fuck out of it.
So it's a girl. Interesting.
I'll die before I squeal, pig. Murder was the case they gave me. I'll die before I squeal. You don't want to fuck with me. I got my hands bloody. I'm not hip.
You can still see the top of her hat.
I'll die before I...
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, whirling in rags. You stick the pry bar into the fissure beneath the lid and push down. It doesn't take much force. With a satisfying crack, the metal gives way. Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. Just a feeling. A warning from some part of you. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
You see milk and egg rest with one broken egg in it. Some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows, the methodology in your fingers. You're used to this. No, searching for evidence in the trash. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Batiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below. And among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. As the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage, a rank...
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, they were removed when he was still in the early stages of decay. Drop them in here, officer. Guitar marked blue jeans. Pockets empty or emptied. He wore them with a belt, too, a white belt. The loops appear stretched, but the belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else in there? I have another bag here.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the food waste, dripping with pus.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it in an urban scenario.
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. A yellow old mug that catches your eye. But other than that...
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force. Not really. All we know is the victim's clothes are in the trash, the lid was locked, and his establishment had the key. It's just a small loose thread.
The fuck's he on about, kids? You hear that, Kuno? He thinks you're an infant or something.
See?
The lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container. You pick out a broken mug with an oddly racist depiction of the yellow man frolicking in saffron. Only in its social sensibility. It's just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hands. Apple and potato peels, mostly. Unidentified. What's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes. Written.
Officer, is that your paperwork? It is. Look. The plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form in there. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? Understood.
The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think we got it all.
The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste. The container sounds a muffled gong.
You said you didn't want to talk about the ledger. However, now that you have it back, it would not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Officially.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper, desperately sticking to the back of the blue plastic clipboard. It's a metaphor for you. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want. Still wet, the toilet paper peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off with your finger and voila! The ledger now looks marginally better. An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, looks like an official mark, made to be low visibility outside the right circumstances.
What? Yes, halogen watermark used for adding information to RCM property. Any capable light with the right wavelength will do. All RCM vehicles have headlights designed to reveal halogen watermarks. Mine too.
This means you can read the watermarks if you just turn the lights on.
It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number and address. The information varies by date of issue.
Your kill count. Yours will surely have your kill count.
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand, it's a sorry sight. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered with faint red lines forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense. If work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter, these are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you. What do you mean? Is that all? The notebook is annual. It says 51 on what remains of its cover. A molten strap of cardboard. Everything prior to this must have belonged to a previous volume. Judging by the creases on your forehead and the lines on your cheeks, too much more. Going back years, decades, yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare art. You like this grimy murdering, don't you? Wish there was one in there about a drug den. You love those. Gets the blood pumping. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that, to amuse myself. I pray his loved ones never find out. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish. The ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. It will do, barely. But the lieutenant looks at his blue notebook. 2 fat, shiny pens hang from the binder, like large-caliber bullets on an ammo belt. He is not really saying anything, just standing there, looking at them.
Know that I give this to you with resentment.
The tasks you've completed flow out of the blue oblong pen in a brash freehand uncannily similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple, a language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body, get the body down, interview the cafeteria manager. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. And a fuck you to you too. That last one cuts a slash right through the paper. Things to be done and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the citizens' militia. Now all that remains is...
No, actually. Any ideas? Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. We have a very good name for the case now. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse, handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back to January 51. Stamped case file. You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light something rattles inside, ever so lightly. Is there a hidden compartment and something small inside? Light, made of paper or cardboard, or dried flowers perhaps? The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but it is not see-through. You cannot see to its center. There's pain in there, if you want some. That much you know. With your hands, U4-sized pages hang from the clip screwed to the top of the board. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellulose. It now forms the base of the experience. This base surrounded by a faint air of spoiled meat, the stuff of death itself, and then sprinkled liberally with the citrus zest of toilet cleaner. You know, like the bits they put into public piss bowls, probably called Fermi Discrete, or Axel, or something. At some point in its journey, the ledger has seen the inside of... Remember when I said the smell of the upstairs bathroom was so rank they should have sent a poet to describe it? Why, yes it is, among many other things. This cleaning tablet is used by the whirling in rags. Perhaps that's where the ledger was dropped in the toilet. By you. The lieutenant observes you, raising and lowering the toilet waterlogged mass under your nose, trying to get a good whiff.
Excuse me, I just have to ask again. How did it get in the trash? I'm sad to hear that. In any case, we are lucky you found it. Make sure it's all in there. Official notes are... well, they are dangerous. They contain confidentialities.
Oh God, that sounds dangerous. Make sure you don't throw it out again.
Now, if you'll excuse me, that thing has filled me with the sudden urge to make sure mine is in perfect order.
Needless, it looks great. Unlike yours, which is an unholy mass dripping with excrement. In the back, you see thin, translucent copier paper. Some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but that requires special paperwork. The details of these are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police, all in a print so small it could be considered downright cute. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of color of the irises, predation marks, condition of sexual organs. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. Is not what you end up doing. You squeeze the plastic to slide it open, but nothing happens. Then you bend it some, then crack it. A hot flash of rage comes over you. For a moment there, before it recedes, the ledger quivers in your hand. As it shakes, the pages rustle. This pathetic mess suddenly afraid of you for some reason. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB 41, then date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 411201117. Why yes, your precinct number. Every last alphanumeric in the files begins with it. And these are your case files. It's safe to say HDB are your initials. That is improbable. It takes about half an hour to piece one together using the system you've devised. Where do you want to start? This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, people call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the bell lectures have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the next world mural, as the case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock. ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, a staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us. Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from it takes about half an... Not much has changed in the meanwhile. The tarpaulin cloak with possible RCM markings is still caught on the railing. Tarpaulin cloak with possible RCM markings is still caught on the railing. As you leap in the air, a chilly breeze engulfs you, sharpening your senses. As the concrete floor welcomes you, you realize it's been a while since you felt so alive, alert, capable. Must be the adrenaline.
Hell yeah! My climbing might not have been as disco as your jump, but can we still get an ace's high?
With your feet firmly planted on the concrete, the noise of the harbor rushes back in. This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud. Listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breather.
If you must. But please hurry, we are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinier uniform. The girl is young and very pretty.
Why did you take that picture of René? You're really interested in that old soldier. Not sure I understand your fascination, but sure, as long as it doesn't take up a whole lot of time.
The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the seat, secured to the stiles by black ribbons. The drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. One small box, however, does hold some cheap painkillers. They are slightly out of date. Oh boy, where to start? Elevated risk of dementia, mini strokes, prophet's disease, sudden death, hair death. Don't think about that. Quick, think about something else. The enormity of the case before you dwarfs the list of side effects. You can't even see the side effects anymore. They're nothing to you. You stand and exit the booth. It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say about a broken, tossed-away mug that you dug out of the garbage? But it was in the trash. Why not just call it out when you see it? Or do some volunteering work? An intricate web, it almost looks gone. Control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. Marche. On. Arrête. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. And with a surprisingly quiet, the harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane can rest again. Now, moving this container, of course. For this purpose, it was built.
I can't see how that was worth the ruckus, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
Is this like your thing with that wall again? You do? Because I don't. There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? You just picked one out because you wanted to interact with a cargo container. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to interview the union boss.
No reply. The knock produces a hollow ring of metal. Doesn't sound like there's anything inside the container. You attempt to turn the handle. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement.
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on.
The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi, from the vanishing peninsula of Ubisunt on Muindi.
Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Air. Container, container.
The accent is so
Container,
An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change." The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. Because white antlers are one of the symbols of communism, they represent a society in accord with the natural world, and because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything the commune are. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. Just column after column of closely set text. After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, the magazine is divided into several sections. International developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring you skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer G. Martin accusing the owner of the Capeside apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. Ah, this must be Gaston's handiwork. According to these editorials, there can be no accommodation with the forces of international capital or their, judging from the context, it's something very large and fundamental. You should probably know about it already, honestly. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Aces high. For the rest of the world, the aces high is just a cool Revashole thing, politically neutral. In Revashole, it still holds revolutionary connotations. Also, have you looked at Lieutenant Kitsuragi's clothes? He wears a bomber jacket, just like the ones worn by aerostatic brigades, and those cargo pants could store tools for hot-fixing your aerostatic. Maybe you should ask him about this.
Yes? What about me? What? This? It's just seasonal clothing. Where is this going? Interesting. I think it's called the brain. Okay. And something happened in that brain? I do not have a thing with revolutionary air brigades in particular. Okay, I wanted to become an aerostatic pilot. Then I turned 10 and realized we no longer have an air force. Absolutely nothing. Good. Good. Let's change the subject.
The face of King Friesel. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that, as you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her. The actual article is surprisingly light on details, but after skimming a page or two, if you don't follow it, you only ever hear about the ludicrous sponsorships and obscene death toll. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships. And then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. Oddly enough, this article has 2 bylines: Nasteb Encolada Bernal and Exilus Buka. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others. Thus, the so-called tourney becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers, your discount laundry and that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, at the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for. Sure, you think that, but subconsciously, it's the visions of brand. This flimsy magazine is right. Deep down, you know the only true stakes are life and glory, or death by fiery dismemberment. That's because you haven't been reading critically. But don't worry. The whole point of these sorts of articles is to let someone else read critically for you.
I can safely say the thought had never crossed my mind, Detective. I'm sure most things are, if the young men who wrote this article are to be believed. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race. I take what—
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of— You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bear wrestling. Flip back to it seems to be part of a new public fitness initiative in the People's Republic of Samara, SRV. Devised according to this extremely credulous account, Uncle Sport, as he's affectionately known to his people, has recently decreed bear wrestling the national sport of the SRV. Based on the description in this article, he appears to be an extremely competent and democratically elected president. It's quite straightforward. A standard match features one man, or in some cases woman, against one bear. 2 competitors. According to the SRV's Ministry of Information, the program has been a tremendous success. Public support stands at 87%, and youth obesity and alcoholism rates are down 12%. That's very much the idea. President Kaczynski has long maintained that a strong body is the best defense against capitalist aggression.
The Samaran People's Republic? No, I should expect not. Why do you ask? I suppose that would be something to see.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, du cristal à la fumée. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée. Unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel, La Fumée is committed to telling the radical. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, Please
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrupt.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. It's the ledger you found in the... The accent is so thick.
Container. Everard. He looks after everyone. Huh? What? I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister. Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. I was about 10 then, too old to lose my accent then. People say us Ubies are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you to know there was never any of that where I come from.
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
The containers in the yard are green in Wild Pine's livery, and the mountains rising behind Leo is all red in Union colors. There appear to be cisterns underneath the Union container covers.
No, not really. Mr. Everett doesn't tell me all the big things. Says I go and tell them to everyone. Oh, I don't know, mister. They say it's some chemicals. Most of them have labels on them, I think.
Yes, they are hiding it from the inside. All the red containers have the Debarders Union logo on them.
Oh, no trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is guarding the... But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's Union. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Everett telling them to take some time off. I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really know the details. That's just how boys are, you know. I haven't been in a fight since I was in middle school.
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the heart ease.
Too late. Leo's mouth is still moving and the words are spewing forth. Words, words, and look, even more words. This guy could go on till the end of days. Now he's talking about some drunk sawmill owner who, no, he already switched to a prized fishing rod he apparently owned at some point. You know what? Just cut in there with your questions.
Yes, yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. But everyone calls me Leo. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everett is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those douce sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes I am, yes I am.
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork. Keep it up, Leo.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, it means a lot, really. Sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much I bust my ass for them here. But you guys are alright. Yes, I'm like, actually...
Who is this, Miss...
A real pretty but I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's poor Lizzie. She is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, but she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighbourhood, knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community. If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years, she has.
Yes.
Well, sometimes I feel some of the guys don't Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're...
Told you.
Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighbourhood. Guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys. Oh, Mr. Everett is usually in his office, of course. But you gotta be quick if you want to see him. He leaves around 10 p.m. Bye-bye now.